pouquinho. Cadê isso?
My peoples, good morning and happy Halloween. 10 years ago today, I almost died. More on that in a second. Let's finish up Papo and Yo right here. We're at the end. The shaman just told us that there is no cure for Monster and that we have to let him go. So we're going to make our way across. Over here we see Monster down there off to the left. And he's got his little coconuts, and he's very happy, as Monster is when he gets his coconuts. But since we're letting go of Monster, if I can do this, there we go. Oh, what's this? Yep. This is what fuels the bad monster. So we're just going to go ahead and get him nice and stinking drunk. And there he goes. Rage. Rage, rage, rage. Oh, you want some more? Okay. Let's feed the monster some more. More frogs, but we know they're not frogs at this point. Bottles of Jack. And let's see. Can you handle one more, big guy? See what you got. There you go. Get the froggy. Alright, so now he's shit-faced. And we've got some new blocks and a lever here, so we're going to go ahead and just pull this out, and like so much dust, just sweep him down to the next little level. And we build our bridge, and that's where we got to go down there. Let's try not to fall off. That would be bad. Woo, that was close. And big jump. And we're down. Looks like a bunch of mannequins of our sister. Well, we're going to do the same thing. Pick her up. Put her in. Oops. There we go. And Monster's going to run over and do what Monster does. And just toss her around. As you notice there in the background, we're kind of building something with each mannequin that we're throwing in there. So eventually we've got a little structure of some sort, it looks like, that we're trying to construct. Alright, there we go. Now, you can see up there, we're just going to move that right there. One more time, but this time, she's on the bridge and she escapes. Monster can't get her anymore. But he's going to try. So now he's down here to the final platform, and it looks like there's nothing but the abyss beyond. So let's head on down here. And there's a hat. Whoa, whoa. Let's make sure we get the hat, and we'll switch it over. Looks like a little party hat. And that was bad. But it was worth it. I got the hat, right? Alright, let's go see what Monster is up to. Well, he's passed out on his little bed of legs here. And behind him is a thing to push him with. Now remember, we're letting go. So it looks like we're going to be pushing Monster over the edge here to let him go. But before we do that, let's just go sit on his belly one last time and have a nice little chat with Monster before we let him go. When I played this game through the first time, I sat here for a good 5-10 minutes with just tears kind of streaming down my face. And when I reflect on my life and alcoholism that has been a part of it with both my father and myself, I realized that it wasn't necessarily me letting go of my father. Fortunately for me, he was able to come to grips with his alcoholism and nipped it in the bud. But what I was letting go of right here was me from 10 years ago. So let's go back to that fateful Halloween in 2002. I had this sweet ass costume all picked out. Put down a lot of money because I had to put down a deposit for it for the rental. I got it. I was so excited. It was going to be so sharp. And my girlfriend at the time and I went to the restaurant that I worked at, that I bartended at, for a big Halloween party. And as it was back in the day, I got completely shit-faced and acted like an asshole and was not cool to my girlfriend at all, or really to anybody that was around me, and proceeded to get in an argument, get in a fight with my girlfriend, and decided that, you know what, I didn't want to be there anymore. And as I was prone to do back in the day, I would just Irish goodbye everybody. And Irish goodbye is just when you roll out of somewhere without saying goodbye to anybody. You just kind of disappear. And as I'm in my car, shit-faced, mad, driving home, the last thing I remember was reaching down for my cell phone because it was ringing and it had kind of fallen down into the passenger side area, where, you know, where your feet are. And that's my last recollection. My next recollection is coming to the sounds of a heart monitor and all kinds of other beepings. And I'm in 4-point restraints in a hospital bed with tubes in just about every orifice of my body. And as I lay there, I remember thinking, I don't know what happened, but I know what happened. And let me be honest with you, it was the most terrified that I had ever been in my life. I had no idea who else I may have put in a hospital or possibly a morgue. And so I lay there by myself for a good 15 or 20 minutes, unable to communicate with anybody. Nobody's come in to check on me or anything like that. I'm in 4-point restraints, so it's not like I can just get up and ring for a nurse. But I had a heart monitor on one of my fingers on my left hand. And so with my thumb, I kind of flicked it off. And then, all kinds of alarms and bells and stuff start going off. And, I hear like, code blue, room 3, and like 10, 15 doctors and nurses all come running in. And I'm just laying there looking at them like, hey. And I swear the look on every single one of their faces was, this asshole. So a nurse comes over, puts the thing back on my finger, and they all leave. And I'm still laying there, terrified, not knowing anything. So I decide to flick it off again. This time, 2 nurses kind of stick their heads in and see what I had done, come over, put the thing back on my finger, and tape it to my finger. So there was no way that was getting off. But I had gotten their attention to the point where they sent a doctor in, and my father was there, and my best friend, and my girlfriend at the time. They had been at the hospital all night. And they came in and kind of let me know what had happened. Obviously, I had wrecked my car to the point where I got medevaced to the Washington Hospital Shock Trauma Unit. They had done 2 CAT scans on my head because with my head, I had blown out the driver's side door window. And I had some bruising on my left frontal lobe. And so I asked for something to write with, and they hand me a little notepad with a pencil, because again, I've got a trach tube down my throat, I've got a breathing tube down there as well, and I can't talk. And I write on the notepad. I go, I wrote, "Did I hurt anyone?" And my dad looked at me and said, "No, it was just you." And thinking back on that moment, even right now, just brings up so much emotion. There was a relief that washed over me that I can't even really explain, and I pray that none of you that watch this video have to experience it. So in typical kind of me fashion, I ask right after that, "How's my face?" Somewhat jokingly, but not really. And my brother chimes in. Yeah, my brother was there too. My brother chimes in, "You're fine, you fucking asshole." And then I said, "How's my peep?" And he said they had to chop it off. So then I wrote, "Pull the plug." So in the process of getting me help down to the hospital, which is the reason why I was in the 4-point restraints, I was a little bit combative, apparently, to the point where I had huge bruises on both my arms, on my biceps, where I was being restrained by the police. And I did such a fantastic job of pissing them off that they followed me all the way down to the hospital and were, understandably a little curt with the hospital staff there, demanding that they do a blood alcohol content test on my blood, demanding samples of my blood and all this stuff. And they just through some other stroke of dumb luck, the nurses and doctors, I guess, were on my side on this and kind of conveniently were like, we can't find that stuff. So I used up pretty much all of my 9 lives on that night. And I decided right then and there that there was time for a change. And I went out and I got help. And I'm sharing this with you on the 10th anniversary of this fateful night. Oh, and then they had to cut my costume right off of my body. My costume was destroyed. I owed the costume company a lot of money at the end of that. What was my costume? I was dressed up as a prisoner. Yeah. Good stuff, right? So the moral of this, story is if you're going to go out and party tonight, just be safe. And if you've got a problem that you think you have with alcohol, go out and get help. And I guess that's it, So we're going to say goodbye to Papo here, just as I said goodbye to the destructive life that I was leading.